Things are about to heat up in House of the Dragon Season 3, and it looks like this will mean big changes for the character of Rhaenyra Targaryen. Played by actor Emma Darcy, Rhaenyra has stood at the center of HBO's Game of Thrones spin-off for 2 seasons, and that isn't about to change. However, as this upcoming installment, premiering June 21, 2026, dives into the meat of the Dance of the Dragons, this Targaryen queen's ethos must shift. Darcy recently discussed, via EW, their character's development in House of the Dragon Season 3, teasing that the upcoming episodes will pull Rhaenyra into a new position. This installment of the fantasy series is set to kick off with the Battle of Gullet, known in George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire lore as one of the most devastating battles at sea in Westerosi history. The bloodshed will carry House of the Dragon into a new stage within the conflict between the Blacks and Greens, and Darcy was thrilled to see what this meant for Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra has primarily been in a reactionary position. She spent a lot of time in Season 1 and Season 2 backed into a corner, treading water to an extent, trying to preserve a very tenuous position. I have shared with an audience a desire for her to move into a more active, front-footed position. I wanted to see what happens when that character stops having to apologize. Darcy's words regarding Rhaenyra's position in House of the Dragon Seasons 1 and 2 ring true, since this character has been primarily stationed at Dragonstone. She has made political maneuvers both internal and external, but there has always been a sense that Rhaenyra is holding back. It's interesting, since this isn't how this character was described in Fire and Blood. It seems House of the Dragon Season 3 will rewrite this character's behavior to align more with how Westerosi history will remember her. What causes Rhaenyra Targaryen to change in House of the Dragon Season 3? House of the Dragon has so far presented Rhaenyra as a morally sound and fair ruler who is trying her absolute best to claim her right without unnecessary violence. In Martin's works, she's mostly portrayed as cruel, anxious, and paranoid. HBO's on-screen adaptation essentially claims that Rhaenyra wasn't always this way, and that the rumors about her cruelty were the result of her enemies smearing her name. However, Darcy states House of the Dragon Season 3 will explore a movement towards tyranny. Darcy theorizes that it's a kind of religious fanaticism, actually, that starts to radicalize Rhaenyra's position, referring to the A Song of Ice and Fire prophecy her father passed on to her. While this character isn't as pious as Alicent Hightower, she is steadfast in her belief that it is her duty to be queen, and, therefore, guardian of Aegon the Conqueror's prophecy. While Rhaenyra feels urgent about this at the end of House of the Dragon Season 2, she hasn't quite reached the radicalized point of fanaticism. However, things are bound to become more desperate. While Rhaenyra's movement toward tyranny is technically canon, things really go downhill for her after she claims King's Landing. The idea that her father tasked her with guarding Aegon's prophecy is an invention of House of the Dragon. Regardless, there is some serious rewriting here. The big question is whether it will all pay off. Rhaenyra's House of the Dragon arc is starting to sound very familiar. Darcy implies that it will be Rhaenyra's steadfast belief that it is her duty to be queen and pass on Aegon's prophecy that will lead her to tyranny. It certainly makes sense, especially since fanatical belief is a common misguider in Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series. What's concerning is that Rhaenyra's downfall could prove extremely unpopular with House of the Dragon viewers, since it's very similar to Daenerys Targaryen's divisive ending in Game of Thrones. Daenerys started as a fair ruler who was eager to bring peace to her people. However, in HBO's Game of Thrones, her strong belief that she was a predestined savior led her astray. She turned to violence and tyranny, all in the name of goodness. In House of the Dragon, Rhaenyra might not believe that she is the prince that was promised, but she certainly believes in a particular destiny for herself. These are two Targaryens cut from the same cloth. Though Rhaenyra's canon story is laid out ahead of her, House of the Dragon is under no real obligation to stick to it, as the show has already proven. So, just about anything could happen as the fantasy series continues. Perhaps the movement toward tyranny Darcy teased will end with a step back and another big change for Rhaenyra, maybe some redemption before her death. Only time will tell.